This is Radio Now 95.3 FM. Come for the news, stay for informed conversations.
And continuing our conversations this morning, we are bringing you to Edo State, where the state's Election Petition Tribunal will today resume sitting following yesterday's adjournment of proceedings. Now, last week, the tribunal sat to hear a suit filed by Asue Ighodalo of the People's Democratic Party, the PDP, against the conduct of the September 2024 gubernatorial elections. In its sitting last week, gunshots fired by suspected thugs had disrupted proceedings and forced an adjournment to yesterday, Monday, the 20th of January 2025. Joining the conversation this morning is Tony Abolo, who is a journalist in the state. Mr. Abolo, good morning, and thank you for joining us on the conversation.
Very much.
So, to jump right into it, what is the latest situation out of the Elections Petitions Tribunal? We understand that they sat yesterday after the interruption last week by gunshots and thugs. What is expected to happen today?
Well, the what do you call them? The PDP councils have already dropped their investigation. Their documents for consideration as part of their evidence, and they had also tried to get in their witnesses as of yesterday, and but because the APC councils hadn't gotten all the details about the witnesses and what they were going to say, and so they decided that they should ask for a postponement, which would mean that they will now move the further hearings to today. So I hope that by today, the tribunal proceedings will just go normally in the sense of the judges listening to the councils making their presentation.
So, you have referred to last week's incident, which disrupted the sitting essentially. Has there been an update from the police regarding perhaps arresting the people who disrupted last week's sitting of the tribunal?
A very valid question to ask, because this is, unfortunately, although we use the word rule of law, the last thing that happens in Nigeria is about anything that is lawful. Rather, it is lawlessness and impunity, and it's still with us for too long. Otherwise, these issues ought not to be things we discuss. They are not issues that should even come up. You would expect that, a tribunal is sitting, there's decorum. You don't interrupt the process. You don't go with either your supporters or thugs, whichever is the group, because the police has not come out to tell us this is the real group that is causing the trouble. So let's not begin to preempt. So you now find that this is now happening all the time. You would expect that, if at all, because this happens in the presence of security agencies, and that is why what's it called, the PDP man decided now that instead of all this business of taking his private security to come with him to the tribunal, they will now use DSS. Now, let's see how thugs will now confront DSS. So that is the position of things.
And if we go back to the political narratives around that disruption, we saw PDP come out to say that, look, these were thugs that they claim the thugs were sponsored by the opposition, or at the very least, they do say that these were sponsored thugs that were hired to wear PDP paraphernalia and pretend to be members of their party. They're videos that they've put out in public, and they continue to push this narrative. Has the APC in the state, or even other political parties in the state, have they come out to speak on this narrative, whether to deny it or whatever the case may be?
No, the APC hasn't. Rather, they would rather that it be the narrative that is in the public space, which is that it is a PDP. Because I saw one of those videos online in which somebody with a gun, and of course who has been identified because people will know them, and then he was shouting, "Give us our mandate, give us our mandate." You shout on the road, "Give us our mandate," on the highway with a gun, when it ought to be an argument inside the court about give us our mandate. It shouldn't be. So that's when you now begin to suspect who is doing this, who is behind this. Ideally, like you asked a short while ago, that it ought to be that the security agencies ought to nab these people. And incidentally, I don't want to mention names. One or two of the APC people have been invited to the police station or to DSS. So some people are being questioned. That is the situation as of yesterday.
Mr. Abolo, thank you so much for your time on the conversation. Tony Abolo is a journalist out of Edo State who joined us to speak this morning on the resumption of proceedings at the Edo State Elections Petition Tribunal, which was adjourned from yesterday till today, and also to address last week's disruption by thugs who fired gunshots when the Petitions Tribunal sat to deliberate on the suit filed by Asue Igodalo of the People's Democratic Party, the PDP, against the conduct of September 2024's gubernatorial elections.
This is Radio Now 95.3 FM. Come for the news, stay for informed conversations.